The Senate will please come to order. We'll begin this morning with a moment of silence in lieu of a devotional. Thank you. Are there any announcements this morning? Okay, we have two House referrals under Rule 31. House Bill H 289 being on the calendar for notice and affecting the revenues of the state under Rule 31 is referred to the Committee on Finance. Additionally, House Bill H 360 being on the calendar for notice and affecting the expenditures of the state under Rule 31 is referred to the Committee on Appropriations. This brings us right into the orders of the day. There's been a request to pass over S42. Without objection, we will do so and move right to S66. We have on the calendar today S66, an act relating to electric bicycles. The House has proposed to the Senate to amend the bill as set forth on pages 1743 to 1745 of today's calendar. The underlying question is, shall the Senate concur with the House proposal of amendment on S66? The senator from Chittenden, Senator Chittenden, is recognized for his report.
Thank you, Madam President. The Senate Transportation Committee met this morning with Legislative Counsel to go over the proposed amendments from the House. We consider them reasonable. They are clarifying languages on the term motor-assisted bicycle, so as to give greater clarity on when that term is also to be excluded from the definition to make this valid, and also with some clarifying remarks on technical wattage of the bicycles. The sense of the committee today was we encourage this body to concur with the amendments from the House. And I think that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Senator. The question then is, shall the Senate concur with the House proposal of amendment on S66? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you concur with the House proposal of amendment on S66. We have on the calendar for third reading, H 426. Third reading was ordered on May 5th, 2021. Are there any amendments before third reading? I believe the senator from Washington, Senator Perchlik, has an amendment. The senator is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, this amendment is on page 1745 of today's calendar. You'll notice that the amendment is offered by all the members of your Senate Education Committee, as well as Senator Pearson. This amendment would simply require that radon testing be done in every school in the state that hasn't done one at least in the last 5 years, and that they would do so before January 15th of 2023. Since this bill is requiring an inventory and assessment of all school buildings, and we're also doing some work on PCB testing in schools, we thought this was a good time to also do the radon testing in all of the schools. There's a connection to our concerns with COVID-19. Radon is proven to be cancerous, causing lung cancer, particularly for those that are in long-term exposure. So the staff, teachers that are in the same building, same room sometimes for years, really have an elevated risk. And we think we owe it to them to at least let them know if the building they're working on has radon in it. There's also some evidence of the connection with childhood leukemia and radon. The exposure isn't as long, but children breathe more, it turns out, so that there's more gas exchange in their lungs. And it's just something that we don't feel like we should be taking any more chances with. And in addition, there's been a concern in the past that if we were to do testing in all the schools, we wouldn't like what we find out, that the cost of remediation would be too high. But with all the work that we'd be doing in HVAC, that's usually how you remediate radon, because if it's coming through the granite underneath the school. There's not a lot you can do physically. So really it's just getting more clean air into, clean air exchange into the rooms. And we've been spending a lot of effort over the last 2 years. We appropriated another $16 million this year to improve HVAC systems. So we think there's going to be less instances of elevated radon because of the improved HVAC. And we're going to be doing more work on that because of other COVID concerns. We didn't get a clear response of whether the ESSER money would be allowed if there's a connection to COVID, but we felt strongly that there was one. And we're having it, instead of being done by the Department of Health, who we did consult on this, it just requiring it of the schools to do kind of on their own, on their own time. The cost of a test isn't very high. It's only like $1,000 even for a bigger school. And so if they're just doing this on their own and then reporting out on it, we felt that was the quickest and best way to do it. So that's the amendment. Happy to take any questions and hope that we can get support for this amendment and pass the bill.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill be amended as moved by the senator from Washington and others? The senator from Chittenden is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to interrogate the proposer of the amendment, if I might.
You may.
So I would thank the Education Committee for considering this. It's something that the committee has for a number of years looked at. The worry has always been, and I think you alluded, Madam President, briefly to it in your explanation, but if we require testing, require public reporting of the results, if you imagine a situation where a school tests not just positive for radon, but alarmingly positive for radon, the worry is that we then, in effect, mandate expenditures from that district that they weren't planning on. So in the case of lead, when we required lead testing in schools, we came forward at the same time with a fund of money for remediation. And that allayed the fears in, the superintendents, the principals, the school boards, et cetera. My worry about this is that we're also requiring PCB testing at the same time. And we have $10 million in the budget, $5 million of which is for the testing of PCBs, and that leaves $5 million unaccounted for, which might be used for remediation. So I felt okay with what we were doing on PCBs. If we add radon testing, can we assure districts and taxpayers in those districts that they won't be hung out to dry in the event that there are publicly reported negative results? Because at that point, if you have a public report, you will have parents who will rightfully become very concerned. So what would the financial remedy be in that event?
Thank you, Madam President. On the remediation costs, like I mentioned, that we feel like the HVAC work that is being done will address some of that. And there is the ESSER money that all the schools will have. So as these tests comes back, they could use their own ESSER money to deal with the remediation. We can't offer any guarantees. We can't bind any future legislatures to fund these things, but there will be more money coming down. There's the ESSER money that the schools have. There's the ESSER money that we have unappropriated to the state. We didn't appropriate all the state's share of the 10% of total of the ESSER 3 money. And then there could be future infrastructure spending that we think would be likely eligible for this kind of expense. But we feel like that risk, which I understand is a point well taken, it pales in comparison to the unknown risks of the health effects and the costs of long-term exposure to radon. We think trying to just like say we're too afraid of what we're going to see, so we're going to keep the blindfold on is not an acceptable alternative.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I thank the senator. I guess what I would like to say to the Senate is I will vote yes on this. And my yes vote indicates that I understand by requiring this testing, it could cost us down the road. And so I am, in advance of that, indicating my logical connection between the two and my willingness to vote for that money. I would hate to see us in a situation where we had a strong vote for this amendment as well as the PCB testing, and then we denied money at a later point to districts should they find themselves in financial difficulty because of it. So I think the Education Committee has done the right thing here. I'm going to vote yes on it, but that inextricably brings along the idea that money may need to follow on the back end. So I'm indicating support for that as well. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate amend the bill as moved by the senator from Washington and others? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've amended the bill as recommended by the senator from Washington and others. Are there any additional amendments before third reading? Please listen to the third reading.
H 426, an act relating to addressing the needs and conditions of public school facilities in the state.
Now you've heard the third reading. The question now is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've passed H 426 in concurrence. We have on the calendar for third reading H 433, which was ordered on May 5th, 2021. Are there any amendments before third reading? Please listen to the third reading of H 433.
H 433, an act relating to the transportation program and miscellaneous changes to laws related to transportation.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? Kindly, the senator from from Grand Isle has requested a roll call vote. Are you ready for the question? And again, the question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? The secretary is kindly asked to call the roll.
Senator Balint,
Yes.
Senator Baruth,
Yes.
Senator Benning,
Yes.
Senator Bray,
Yes.
Senator Brock,
Yes.
Senator Campion,
Yes.
Senator Chittenden,
Aye.
Senator Clarkson,
Yes.
Senator Collimore,
Yes.
Senator Cummings,
Yes.
Senator Hardy,
Yes.
Senator Hooker,
Yes.
Senator Ingalls,
Yes.
Senator Kitchell,
Yes.
Senator Lyons,
Yes.
Senator McDonald, Senator Mazza,
Yes.
Senator McCormack,
Yes.
Senator Nitka,
Yes.
Senator Parent,
Yes.
Senator Pearson,
Yes.
Senator Perschlick,
Yes.
Senator Polina,
Yes.
Senator Rahm,
Yes.
Senator Sears,
Yes.
Senator Sirotkin,
Yes.
Senator Starr,
Yes.
Senator Terenzini,
Yes.
Senator Westman,
Yes.
Senator White,
Yes.
Senator McDonald,
Please listen to the results of your vote. The yeas 29, the nays 0, and you've passed H 433 in concurrence. We have on the calendar for action H 449, read for the first time on March 28th, 2021. It was referred to the Committee on Government Operations, which reports it has considered the bill and recommends that the bill be amended as set forth on pages 1746 to 1758 of today's calendar, and that when so amended, the bill ought to pass. Please listen to the second reading of H 449.
H 449, an act relating to the membership and duties of the Vermont Pension Investment Commission and the creation of the Pension Benefits Design and Funding Task Force.
The senator from Windham, Senator White, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Government Operations.
Thank you, Madam President. So it is no surprise to any of us, or probably anybody in the state, that we must address our retirement system now. We have actually 3 retirement systems: the Vermont State Employees Retirement System, the Vermont State Teachers Retirement System, and the Vermont Municipal Employees Retirement System. 2 of these, the state employees and the teachers systems, need our undivided attention. Among the many problems in these 2 systems are that we now have more retirees who are collecting benefits than those active members who are paying in. Without getting into numbers, a task much better left to our Appropriations Committee, there are issues that need to be addressed. In January, the treasurer brought a proposal forward that met with much opposition. The decision was made at that time to have the other chamber take the lead on this issue. They did, and they sent us H 449, which in a minute you will hear our suggested changes. A little background. Most of us have seen the excellent presentations by Chris Roop from JFO, so we have some understanding of the system. But basically, we have an investment committee and a board representing each of the 3 groups. In the past, there were many issues of responsibility and authority, including, for example, that if the rate of return needed to be changed, all 3 boards had to agree. For various reasons, this was hard to do, and so became hard to change the rate of return. This has caused many financial challenges to us. The other issue that has caused concern is the underestimation of the demographic changes. We have heard that this is a state problem because of underfunding the required yearly payment. It is much more complicated than that, and the state is not solely to blame. We have all heard the numbers from the Chair of Appropriations, and it's much better to get them from her, so that I will not report on numbers right now. So when the bill came from the other chamber, it had 2 basic parts: the governance structure and benefits. No matter how we might adjust our benefits, if we do not address the governance issues, we will find ourselves in the same position in a few years. So a little background on governance and why the changes being made here will make a difference going forward. VPIC, or the Vermont Pension Investment Committee, makes the investment decisions. The problems with VPIC before 2016 can be summarized in these 5 statements. It was expensive and misunderstood investments. There was a lack of expertise and inadequate investment staff. There were over-reliance on Wall Street for guidance. The investment meetings lacked focus as well as strategic direction. And there were terrible returns versus comparable pension funds. Under the current chair and chief investment officer, VPIC has made significant progress. The investment performance has improved relative to other pension systems nationwide. In fact, we have moved from the bottom 5% to the top 19%. And investment fees have been dramatically reduced. A few other changes: replacement of our investment consulting management firm, hiring of an experienced chief investment officer, lowering fees, simplification of the investment mix, and focused meetings. The refinements in this bill will set VPIC up for the next stage of advancement by allowing: 1, independence from political influence on key decisions that will affect long-term sustainability; 2, the ability to further explore the question of appropriate internal staff versus Wall Street fees and truly manage the budget as fiduciaries of the trust; 3, a better partnership with the legislative oversight to prevent problems from getting farther out of control in the future. The other major part of the bill was the task force to review the current and future benefits plan with the objective of a sustainable shared risk approach. Madam President, may I speak to both the underlying bill and the amendment?
You may.
Thank you. The amendment starts on page 1746, and there is a link to the bill as introduced. As has been stated, it's H449. So Section 1 amends the statutes. Section 1 is a strike-all from the underlying bill. It amends the statutes to reflect the name of VPIC as a commission rather than a committee. This emphasizes its independence as a commission separate from the Treasurer's office. It also adds definitions for financial expertise and independent and plans. It amends VSA in 552, the makeup of the commission. It clarifies it is an independent commission, adds 2 new members: 1, a representative of the municipal employers and appointed by VLCT, and 1, a representative of a school employer appointed by the Vermont School Boards Association. So this means that the ultimate makeup of VPIC is now 1 member and 1 alternate from the state retirement system, 1 member and 1 alternate from the teachers' retirement system, 1 member and 1 alternate from the municipal employees system, 2 members and 1 alternate appointed by the governor, the treasurer or designee, a person appointed by VLCT, 1 appointed by the VSBA, the Vermont School Boards Association, and a chair who is appointed or hired by the other 8 members. And the chair will only vote in the case of a tie. It requires that the governor's appointees are financial experts and independents. It requires members to receive training, limits members to 3 4-year terms, and states that the commission will receive administrative and technical support from the Office of the Treasurer. Madam President, I believe there is an error in D1A, and the term financial expert and independent was inadvertently left off the requirements for the chair. We had that the chair had to be a financial expert and independent. And when we added other qualifications that are part of the VPIC qualifications, that term got inadvertently left off. And what I was going to say is that I would leave it to the wisdom of yourself and the secretary to how to solve this situation. But in the meantime, a couple eagle eyes found that error, that omission. And so there will be an amendment later on offered by the senator from Franklin and others.
Thank you.
It also sets the votes needed. 5 votes are needed for most decisions, but 6 for decisions relating to setting actuarial assumptions. It also specifies that public employees and alternates are entitled to leave time. This was very important for people who will be appointed to the commission. 523 states the commission's duties, and it adds responsibilities to set certain actuarial assumptions, conduct an annual asset allocation study, adopt policies relating to the standards of conduct for members, study the assets and liabilities of each plan every 3 years, currently that's 5, and be solely responsible for any changes to the actuarial rates of return. They do not now need the approval of all 3 of the boards. And it requires the commission to submit an annual report to House and Senate Government Operations Committees on certain performance measurements for each plan and send a copy of the report to each plan participant or beneficiary. Section 2 sets the terms for the new members and how to transition from current membership to the new membership. Section 3 requires the commission to develop a written policy for implementing the asset allocation study and the asset and liability study by January 15th, 2022. And it directs the commission to hire an independent third party for help in transferring to a standalone independent entity and to report to the committees by July 2021. Section 4 requires the state employee retirement system to conduct an actuarial investigation every 3 years rather than every 5. And Section 5 strikes out reference to the treasurer adopting a rule for the standard of conduct for committee members and employees, as this will become the responsibility of the commission itself. Sections 6 and 7 require the same 2 things of the teacher's retirement system. And Section 8 requires the municipal system to conduct actuarial investigation every 3 years rather than every 5. All right, I need to take a breath. Section 9 is technical changes that change the committee to a commission. And that is the end of the changes to the governance structure that have been made in this bill. We now move to the Pension Benefits Design and Funding Task Force. The subsection A creates the Pension Benefits Design and Funding Task Force to review and report on the benefits, design, and funding of retirement and retiree health benefits for VSERS and VSTERS. Subsection B sets forth the membership of the task force to include 2 House members, 2 Senate members, the Secretary of Administration, which is a powerful voice from the governor's office, the state treasurer, 3 members appointed by the NEA, 2 members appointed by the VSEA, and 1 member appointed by the Vermont Troopers Association. It also requires that the legislative members are not beneficiaries of either system and that the other appointees are not serving as a legislator or are the partner's spouse of a current legislator. Subsection C sets forth the powers and duties of the task force, including recommendations on strategies to lower the ADEC and unfunded liability, a 5-year review of expenditure levels and employer contribution levels, proposed benefit structures, evaluating any cross-subsidization between VSERS group members, examining revenue streams to find VSERS and VSTERS, a plan to pre-fund OPEB, evaluating impacts to the OPEB is the other, it is health benefits and those, I can't right now think of the term, but it is benefits other than the pension itself. Evaluating impacts to the state and local economies and any impact on recruitment and retention in those 2 systems. Subsection D requires the task force to solicit input from certain stakeholder groups, including the judiciary, because they are under a slightly separate system, and the general public. Subsection E provides the task force with assistance from JFO, Leg Council, Legislative Operations, and the state treasurer. It also authorizes the task force to hire outside actuarial, benefit, and legal expertise. And the budget for that was put into the appropriation, into the big bill. Section F provides that public employee members of the task force should be granted reasonable leave time to attend meetings. Subsection G requires the task force to submit an interim report to the House and Senate Government Operations Committees by October 15th, 2021, and a final report by December 2nd, 2021. Subsection 8 requires the House and Senate members of the task force to appoint the House and Senate co-chairs and call the first meeting by June 15th, 2021. And it provides that the task force ceases to exist by June 30th, 2022. Subsection I sets forth the compensation and reimbursement of members on the task force. We then felt that it was important to make sure that the legislature is constantly informed about what is happening with our pension and retirement systems. So we created a joint legislative pension oversight committee. That is section 11. Subsection A creates the committee to work with and provide assistance to other legislative committees on matters relating to retirement and OPEB. Section B sets forth the membership of the committee, which is 3 House and 3 Senate members. Subsection C provides the powers and duties of the committee. It includes evaluating issues of public policy relating to retirement benefits and health benefit design innovations, changes to statutory provisions, and reviewing the annual appropriation amounts to the retirement systems. Subsection D authorizes the committee to adopt rules of procedure. Subsection E sets forth the committee's authority to meet in session at the call of the chair or up to 6 times off session. F provides the committee assistance from Leg Council, Leg Operations, and JFO. And G provides for the compensation and reimbursement for the members. H requires the VPIC and the retirement boards to submit an annual report to the committee. The makeup and structure of this committee follows other oversight committees such as Justice Oversight. And Section 12 is conforming revisions. It authorizes the Office of Legislative Counsel to make conforming changes throughout the Vermont statutes annotated by changing Vermont Pension Investment Committee to Vermont Pension Investment Commission. Madam President, both the topic of this bill and its path have been fraught with high emotion, misunderstanding, and a lot of misinformation, technical issues, and much more. Your Committee on Government Operations has been serious, deliberative, and hopefully timely in our work. We present a bill that addresses the ongoing governance structure, the immediate need to look at the benefit plan, and a new legislative oversight committee to make sure we do not end up in the same place in the years to come. We heard from Amy Town, President of VSEA, Beth Vestigi, Commissioner of the Department of Human Resources, Beth Pierce, State Treasurer, Chris Roop, JFO, Eric Henry, Chief Investment Officer, Office of the State Treasurer, Erica Wolfing, Retirement Policy and Outreach Director, Treasurer's Office, Jeff Fannin, Executive Director of the NEA, Karen Horn, Director of Public Policy and Advocacy for the VLCT, Keith Brainerd, Research Director from the National Association of State Retirement Administrators, Mike O'Neill, President of the Troopers Association, Mike Pichak, Commissioner of the Department of Financial Regulation, Rebecca Wasserman, Legislative Counsel, Representative Sarah Copeland-Hanses, Chair of the House Government Operations Committee, Representative John Gannon from the House Committee on Government Operations, Sergeant Mike O'Neill, I already said him, Steve Howard, VSEA, Tom Galanka, Chair of the Vermont Pension Investment Committee, and Will Kierard, Chief Financial Officer from the Office of State Treasurer. The committee's vote on this was 5-0-0, and we ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. The first question is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Government Operations? Are you ready for the question?
And we do have the amendment, Madam
Thank
President.
you. In that case, what we will do is take up the amendment first, which is on page 1758. And I will recognize the senator from Franklin, Senator Brock, for the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. The substance of the amendment has already been well explained by the senator from Windham. It's designed to simply add something that I believe was inadvertently left out by the committee during its deliberations. It simply takes the person who is the chair of the committee and ensures that that person is a financial expert as defined in the bill and is also independent as is defined in the bill. And I recommend that the Senate concur with this amendment. And the senator from Windham is also one of the co-sponsors of the amendment.
Thank you, Senator. So we'll first take a, excuse me, the senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. And the committee has not looked at this amendment as a whole, but we had no intention of leaving this out. So I believe the committee's support would be positive.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate amend the recommendation of amendment of the Committee on Government Operations as recommended by the senator from Franklin and others? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And you've amended the recommendation of amendment of the Committee on Government Operations as recommended by the senator from Franklin and others. The question now is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Government Operations as amended? Are you ready for the question? The senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I inquire of the recorder.
You may.
Thank you, Madam President. Just briefly, Senator, I'm wondering if you could just point me to the place in the bill that is dealing with term limits for VPIC.
Yes, I don't have it before me on the.
That's all right, Madam President. My question is this: Is the language in the bill amending previous language around term limits? And if so, what was the law on this previously, and what is the change?
That, Madam President, is a great question. I believe that I'm trying to remember what it was. They served an initial 4-year term, and I don't remember. I quite honestly don't remember what the term limits were before. These were the term limits that seemed reasonable to everybody. These term limits actually came in the original bill from the House, and we found them to make sense, and the chair of VPIC thought they made sense, and the treasurer did, and all the other witnesses. So we did not change them, but I honestly can't remember what they were before.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. Again, the question is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Government Operations as amended? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And you propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Government Operations as amended. The question now is, shall the bill be read the third time? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've ordered third reading of H 449. There's been a request to pass over both S1 and S86, and without objection, we will do so and move to S102, an act relating to the regulation of agricultural inputs for farming. The House has proposed to the Senate to amend the bill as set forth on page 1784 of today's calendar. Just to recall that the underlying question is, shall the Senate concur with the House proposal of amendment on S-102? And the senator from Washington, Senator Polina, is recognized for the report.
Thank you, Madam President. Folks might remember this bill had two parts. The first part had to do with composting food residuals and allowing that to be used as forage for poultry operations. The second part of the bill had to do with fees for animal health products and the regulation of certain aspects of marketing of animal health products. There was one small change made in the first part of the bill, the part having to do with composting and foraging for poultry. When the bill left this chamber, we had prohibited any new operations of composting in village centers, downtowns, growth centers, etc. The other chamber has limited the prohibition to composting forage food residual operations, which are the centerpiece of the bill. They realized that there are other kinds of composting operations which might be appropriate for village centers and downtown areas. So they limited the prohibition to composting operations of food residuals and poultry foraging. The second part of the bill had to do with animal health products. And basically there what they did was they did two things. They changed a bunch of definitions, but not the thrust of the bill. They also changed the fee structure for the fees for the registration of the animal health products. They lowered the fees. When I left this chamber, they were $105 each. They lowered the fee to $35. And that was because they found that there were many more products that would have to be registered than we knew when the bill left this chamber. So they lowered the fee from $105 per product down to $35 per product. But they also realized that it would raise the same amount of revenue because there's so many more products that would be registered. So those are the changes that were made to the bill, and your Agriculture Committee suggests that we concur with the House proposal of amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. The question then is, shall the Senate concur with the House proposal of amendment on S-102? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've concurred with the House proposal of amendment on S-102. There's also been a request to pass over S-107, and we will do so without objection, which brings us to the conclusion of the orders of the day. The senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Pending announcements, I move that the Senate stand in adjournment until Friday, May 7th at 10 a.m.
The senator from Windham has moved that subject to any announcements, the Senate do adjourn until Friday, May 7th at 10 a.m. Are there any announcements this morning? The senior senator from Chittenden is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Health and Welfare will meet Friday morning at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Government Operations will meet at 1, and may I interrogate the pro tem, please?
If she so desires, which it seems like she does. Go ahead.
So, Madam President, I just wondered if there's any willingness to advance 449 so that it can get back over to the House for, because I suspect there will be a need for a conference committee.
Thank you for the question, Senator. I will ask for a short recess.
The Senate will stand in recess.
Thank you.